After a month of use, it's chimney cleaning time. Alright, welcome back to the good ship Kadoa, and for those of you who may be new here, ahoy. In this episode, we're going to be talking about the review of our cubic mini GRIZZLY wood burning stove, which we've recently installed aboard Kadoa, and we're going to see how we're getting on with it. We're going to do a full review. In this review, we're going to cover topics like how much fuel that we're finding we're having to use in order to stay warm, how much that's costing us, where we store it, and off the back of our previous video, our installation video, which if you haven't already seen it, it's actually this video here. You can go check that out. I'll pop a link in the top of the description. But so many of you took the time out to give us some feedback, and a bunch of you highlighted potentially some of the blind spots that we may have had. So off the back of all your fantastic feedback, we are actually going to go the whole hog and disassemble what we've built to inspect some of the areas that potentially could be getting seriously damaged by the heat of the stove. So we're going to find out in real time together whether that's the case. On top of that, we're also going to share with you some of the new additions that we've got for the wood burning stove, ready for our Project 365 mission. If you haven't come across that already, then again, I'll pop a link in the description. Cut a long story short, essentially, what we're going to attempt to do is unplug Kadoa from the main grids for a full year at these latitudes and try and survive with just everything that we pack at the beginning of our adventure. Now, this isn't going to be the easiest project in the world, but it is one that we're excited to get our teeth stuck into. So if that sounds interesting to you, then again, jump on board if you haven't done so already, and you can watch that unfold in real time. So first things first, let's strip this puppy down. Now we've taken the top off, given the chimney a good clean out, we're a month into having the cubic GRIZZLY stove burning at really high temperatures within the boat. So now I'm going to take this additional heat shield off that we had made, and I'm going to have an inspection on the inside to see if we can see any damage at all. And you guys are going to see it in real time with us, so if something's gone wrong and this is proving problematic, you're going to know with us. So this could save you a lot of time and hassle installing one of these if you see that it's going to damage the boat. Alright, so that's where we've got that second air gap, and we're going to take these out. We always read the feedback in the comments, and we appreciate you guys taking the time not just to hang out with us, but to share your pearls of wisdom. Some of the feedback, people thought perhaps the CT1 wouldn't have cured, maybe the heat would stop it. That isn't the case, that's absolutely rock solid. Water ingress, I mean, it's literally bone dry. The other one was some potential heat damage. Again, we put the additional air gapped heat shield in, and this is literally perfect. There's no sign, no discoloration, absolutely nothing at all there. But that's all good. I feel happy putting this whole thing back together now. I say we're a month in, and this seemed like the perfect opportunity just to dismantle everything, have a look, and make sure there aren't any hot spots that are building up that perhaps we missed through the install process. But behind the heat shield here, this air-gapped heat shield is absolutely fine. There's no signs of heat build up here at all in the hole anywhere. So very happy with that. Just make sure that that exhaust isn't touching the metalwork at all of the extra heat shield we made, otherwise we lose our air gap, which helps protect the core. On top of that, we've got 3 carbon monoxide detectors and a smoke alarm. We've got 3 fire extinguishers. I feel very confident, and GJW, if you're watching this, you should feel very confident too that we've taken all necessary steps and precautions to mitigate any unforeseen fires on the boat. It's good. Alright, well that didn't look too bad. So now everything's been stripped down, clean and put back together, let's talk fuel. Now the fuel that we've been predominantly using is a smokeless fuel. It's compressed logs, and we've been using approximately 120 kilos of compressed logs for an entire month, and that is predominantly evenings and weekend. Now, this is coming in at approximately 80p there or thereabouts per kilo, depending on exactly which type of log you go. They all vary slightly, but the most expensive comes in at just under £1 per kilo. So we are spending approximately £100 a month there or thereabouts for our fuel bill. Now, many of you have asked what happened to the diesel heater that we installed only a couple of years ago. We still have it. We still use it. It's great in terms of just very quickly heating the boat up, and we're still going to use it going forward. A lot of people have also asked, well, wouldn't it just be simpler and cheaper to run the diesel heater? And the answer to that is, well, it depends. If it's just in terms of warming the boat up, the diesel heater is in fact more efficient, it's cheaper, it makes more sense. However, it isn't just heating that we're going to be asking of this stove. We're going to want to cook our food, we're going to want to heat our hot water, and that brings me on to two fantastic new additions that we've bought for the Cubic Mini GRIZZLY stove. Now, firstly, we have this little beauty which provides us with boiling hot water on tap, and once that's heated, we can very easily store that in a thermos flask, because that'll actually maintain the heat right throughout the night, ready for the morning when you want a cup of coffee. But more to the point, if you leave that in the tank just bubbling away, then your hot water heater very rapidly turns into a humidifier, something which a sailing boat in England in the winter isn't really in need of. So as soon as you get the water up to temperature, get it out, pop it in a thermos, and then you can use that for later. So this is one of our analog systems that we're probably going to have to call upon in the winter time when the sun doesn't shine so brightly in the northern hemisphere of Europe and the solar isn't really going to be putting much into the system. And the second amazing analog addition to the Cubic Mini stove is this little oven top which goes onto the stove, which we've already been utilising. Believe it or not, we have actually managed to pull off a full roast dinner cooking on this grill. It takes some juggling, but it's doable. We don't have gas on board Cadero anymore. We do all of our cooking electrically, which again in the spring, summer and even in the autumn isn't really that much of a problem when we can capture all the solar and pump it into the batteries. But in the depths of winter, there just isn't enough juice being pumped into the batteries in order to utilise our electric cooking equipment. And going forward, we're really excited to see just how much we can squeeze out of this tiny little wood stove. Other than that, you would have seen from previous video, we do have some repairs that are going on. Game has been called on account of weather. It's either been pouring it down with rain, gale force winds, or it's been -5 degrees. So even though the weather really has been a little bit too challenging in order to continue with the repairs for the time being up on deck, we have been busy building out the website, and the Cadero Great British Anchorage page is really starting to fill up. So many of you out there have asked for more information about where we're anchoring and how we found those spots and what our thoughts are, what's the holding like, what are the walks like, you know, just to flesh out a little bit more of sort of our experience there. And so we've built this hopefully useful resource on the website now, and it's in the skeleton stage at the moment. We're adding more and more information to not only the anchorages we've been to, but now with all of the new anchorages we go to in the future, we're going to be much more mindful about the content that we gather to try and build out a bigger and more useful resource. It is free, so I'll pop a link in the description. Go check it out, see what you think. If you spot any spelling mistakes or anything that might not be correct, then again just shoot us a message so we can stay on top of that. And again, it's not to replace almanacs or pilot books or anything like that. We realise just how precious time is, and I know a lot of people that go sailing in the UK might only have a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks to sort of squeeze as much in as they can. But hopefully this will just be a quick scroll and you'll be able to go through a whole bunch of very attractive looking anchorages, and maybe one or two will just jump out and you'll be like, I hadn't thought of that place before. Hope Cove or Porthscatho. They look beautiful, and they are beautiful. So again, that's just us trying to make something that is hopefully of some use. So there's an update of what's going on for the start of 2023. Lots of little bits going on here, there and everywhere. And then hopefully soon, with a break in the weather, we can finish the deck work and get out on some winter adventures to some new spots. Anyway, we'll see you next time.